Hello and thanks for joining us from our studios in Israel. I'm Aaron Porras here with ILTV's Morning Brief. It's Israeli Memorial Day today, and Israelis across the country are commemorating the nation's fallen soldiers and victims of terror. But this year's annual events are nothing like what Israel is used to as the country fights off the coronavirus pandemic. Every year, Memorial Day begins with a minute-long air raid siren, and Israelis bow their heads in silence across the country to mark the start of the Remembrance Day. And typically, Israel's official Memorial Day ceremony is held at the Western Wall in Jerusalem's Old City, but this year, there's no audience.
השנה אתם לבד בחדרים, מקשיבים להדי קולם. איננו יכולים להגיע אל בתיכם, איננו יכולים לעמוד לצדכם בחלקות הצבאיות. איננו יכולים לחבק אתכם, לאמץ אתכם לליבנו.
Today, police are blocking public access to military cemeteries, and bereaved families are being advised to stay at home to prevent the spread of the coronavirus. But small Israeli flags, each with a black ribbon, have been placed by IDF soldiers on every military grave in the country, and today at 11 a.m., a second 2-minute air raid siren was held prior to the main memorial in Jerusalem. Since last year, 42 soldiers and civilians have been killed. As Israelis commemorate the lives lost on the battlefield, the country is still in the midst of fighting another major war. Another 2 people have now succumbed to the coronavirus pandemic, bringing the national death toll to 208 and counting. One case is catching national attention in particular, though. Susie Levy, a veteran nurse who worked for decades at the Sheba Medical Center in Ramat Gan, has now passed away from the virus at the age of 65, becoming the first medical professional to succumb to the disease in Israel. Over 15,585 Israelis have now been diagnosed with COVID-19, and that's 112 new cases in the last 24 hours, which is continuing a downward trend in the daily rate of infections. Of those sick, 126 have serious symptoms, and 94 are on ventilators. So far, more than 7,300 Israelis have recovered, though, almost 500 in just the past day. And given the improving infection rate, Israel has begun to ease lockdown restrictions, and many stores and businesses have been allowed to resume operations as of yesterday. The cabinet has also just approved a plan that could see a gradual reopening of schools starting as soon as next week. The Israeli Prime Minister is now discussing whether or not to allow open-air markets to start functioning again as well, following protests from desperate local business owners. And as of Thursday, unemployment in Israel is at just over 27%, with more than 1.1 million people out of work. Nonetheless, Israel will be looking at a full lockdown for Independence Day, which starts this evening. It looks like the tourism industry here in Israel is going to be getting some relief amidst the coronavirus pandemic. Some hotels and guest houses will be allowed to reopen next week as long as the infection rates continue to stay low. Tourism Minister Yariv Levin says that as a first step, guest houses and hotel rooms at a ground level will be allowed to open. This comes over a month and a half since they've been ordered to close, though. So who will be occupying these rooms? Well, according to Hebrew language reports, airlines have been informed that Israel will continue to ban foreign nationals from entering the country until at least May 16th. Lots of airlines have begun to announce in the past couple of days about their plans to resume flights to Israel as soon as next month, though, but a ban on non-Israeli tourists from entering the country could deter certain airlines from continuing to fly to Israel. As of now, Delta Airlines, Wizz Air, British Airways, Air Canada, Air India, and Alitalia have all announced plans to resume their flights to the Holy Land. In another blow to the Palestinians' agenda, the United States' State Department now says that it's ready to recognize Israeli annexation in parts of Judea and Samaria or the West Bank. Extending Israeli sovereignty to Israeli-controlled areas in Judea and Samaria has been a very sensitive issue for years. But following Israeli promises to annex, in accordance with the White House's Middle East peace plan, the U.S. Secretary of State Mike Pompeo said it's ultimately up to Israel what to do. But now the State Department adds that if it's within the context of the peace plan, the United States will support the decision to annex. Meanwhile, the Palestinian Authority, which has suspended communications with D.C., is condemning the rhetoric as a death blow to a negotiated peace settlement. The U.S. State Department sees the opposite, though, because under the Trump plan, annexation would only be in the context of an offer to the Palestinians to achieve statehood, adding that, quote, "This is an unprecedented and highly beneficial opportunity for the Palestinians." That's all for now, but for more news from Israel, remember to like ILTV on Facebook and on Instagram, and to subscribe to us on YouTube. I'm Aaron Porras, and see you later with our main daily broadcast from Israel at 2 p.m. Eastern Time.